So with P5-6, there is an issue with this view. Notice that that peg does not line up with that hole, which tells me that this was made coincident, not concentric. All right, so I'm focusing at this point on concentric and coincident, and there are certainly a lot more mate references that we can use. Something like that, those are the types of things through all of the iterations that should be that you should catch as you're going through that process. All right, so I'm gonna mix the individual and the configured parts again. I don't really use the welcome screen that much. We can open, and I want to bring the C bracket into the background because I'm going to illustrate bringing that in from the the split window, and then we're going to do a new assembly. So it kind of simulates that I drew the bracket and I'm going to bring it into the assembly, or I drew the next part and I'm going to bring it into the assembly, and I'm ready to go. So whenever I insert the components, if there's nothing in the open documents, it automatically launches the browse window. Since the C bracket is open, I can select it, go right to OK, and it's going to pick up the origin. Anytime I want to see, now again, I leave the origins off. Anytime I want to see them, I can certainly turn it on, but because each of the parts and the assembly comes in with one of those little blue dots, at some point they're going to get really annoying. So um, until you need one, let's just go ahead and leave it off for now. All right, so the select, all right, hold down the control, select, and left click, drag, and let go of the mouse button, let go of the control button. Choices, can't say that it really matters. We'll go to the base coincident if I can get to them. All right, and as long as I can rotate and make sure that I am not trying to make a selection under the microscope. All right, and then I'm just going to keep going through, select, control, select, and coincident. Now, because of the way that I did this, I'm going to say, we might try to mirror, but that's really not going to lend itself to, because there's the right plane. I don't really have anything to split it. I know that my quad plate and the 60 by 90 were both generated off of one corner of the at the origin. So uh, even though I see symmetry, I'm not. It's not anything that I'm really need to do anything with. So just building this out, and if I just kind of go around this way, I can build this base, and then we can add the L brackets and then the other the other plate. So let's go ahead and insert component. I'm going to browse, and because this one falls into the plate, I haven't made generic plate the 2x3s, so 60 by 90. So I'm going to have to pick that. It is already selected as the configuration. If it wasn't, then I would pick it out of that list. And we bring it in. It would be helpful if I rotated it over in X. And let's go with concentric. Select, control, select. And I don't want to do the rotation. Now notice I can move it through. I am constrained in what would be X and Z, and free to rotate. So if I go concentric there and those don't line up, that would be something that I could utilize as a, hey, why is that happening? All right, and then rotate it over to do coincident. All right, so that gives me the one side. And if I do let's go ahead and insert component, and I can always go this route and bring it in. Now I did apply. No, that was to the configured one. I do not have mate references on the individual components. So if this was something I was bringing in the individuals and bringing in a lot of them, I would go ahead and add that. So let's just go to that one. And I've been doing the select control select a lot, so we'll jump over to the mate if that is your preference. Then I don't have to hold down the control button. I can go right in and select. It's a little close to make the next selection. So I select the face, and then in this case I'm going to lean towards parallel. Could pick either one. Coincident would work, so we'll just stay with coincident, and then I can accept. Insert component, C bracket. If I wanted to, we rotate about Y, puts it in a little better position, and into the mate. So there's not a whole lot of difference. It is just a matter of what you are most comfortable with to make those selections. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and accept, and then those can be coincident. All right, so again, a lot of times the mates are going to be a best guess situation that you won't know, can't really anticipate what kind of problems you would encounter until you encounter them. You don't know what you don't know. So we're at a point where we make our best choices, and we deal with whatever issues arise as they come up. So I'm going to rotate about Z, and then I'm going to rotate about Y. Oh, and I guess I should have brought in a null bracket. So again, if you've noticed, I bring in one component at a time. If I happen to have another component, it's not a big deal. I just don't want all of them. All right, all of them is something that is going to create a situation that things are going to move unexpectedly. There's going to be some strange results, and a lot of times it's just going to interrupt my flow to be dealing with a lot of noise on the in the work area. All right, so select control select. I'm going to slip back into my habit, and we'll go coincident. All right, so just rotating over, middle mouse wheel, select control select. If you miss, just pick again. All right, now that one's in place, so I can see both of those in that view. Concentric, little rotation, and now we'll start to see what I was looking at in the difference from their model. All right, so if I drag the picture back in, notice that this is touching. That means that they went coincident, and the error check is that neither one of those holes are going to line up to the pegs. All right, so a select control select, or I'm sorry, a select control drag, let go of the mouse button, let go of the control button. And let's do a mate alignment here. Since we've been doing rotates, I got all my context things popping up. I'm going to do a select control select, and I'm going to make that coincident. And then the flip mate alignment box allows me to change it. It does it kind of weird, but it's okay. And I could do that even if I set it to concentric. It would move it into position, still facing that way, and when I reverse the concentric, it should bring it back around. All right, so we're going to go select control select and coincident. And then it really shouldn't matter which one I go to if this is going to line up. And if I were to add another concentric, as long as it does not violate um, the alignment or anything else that's going on, then it is a valid mate, even though it's unnecessary. Now, as far as an error check, if something was to change, I could expect it to pop up an error that something happened to that concentricity, but it's that one I would put into the optional category. All right, we're ready for some pegs. So let's go insert component existing part and assembly, which is going to take us back to the insert component. All right, so going to the pull down doesn't really help that much. It's the same as going to insert components. It's more of a residual habit that I have of jumping into that selection. All right, so this one is going to be a 10 by 30. I have 3 stacked up there, so I can change that one there. And we'll go ahead and hit the tab button. And then when I click, I don't want to move too far away and have it drag it away from the geometry that we're trying to apply the mate to. So let's go ahead and we'll bring in the next 10 by 30. All right, and then this becomes the contortionist that I have to thumb on the control button, left mouse holding down, index finger tabs, let go, and let go. Or some order like that. So, all right, so we have the 10 by 30. I could go back to the insert components. Notice too that I did not get the concentrices on that one. So let's go ahead and go this way. All right, so select the item, hold down the control button, drag it into the work area, hit the tab button, let go of the mouse button, let go of the control button, and it's in position. It's a little bit long, but I can fix that by going to the context menu and hitting OK. So if I just click on it, I get that, but I have the habit of I like to see all of the list, and it's even off of the screen here a little ways because I'm using just part of my screen. But it gives me the option to make that adjustment. All right, so the rest of these are going to be 10 by 20. So control button, left click, make sure I'm saying this right. We drag to. Now that one picked up the coincidence. So it is, I noticed it did this on 5.5. If I reverse and then go ahead and hit OK, well, I can still see the top. It may take a couple times to select it, but I'll go in and do the concentric, and then on that one I'll lock the rotation. So kind of a toss-up. Like I said, I'm not sure. I'm also noticing because I'm in the education version, these all updated with the education watermark, where these two have not just yet. So, and we'll try it one more time. All right, that one's not picking up at all. So can't say that I know what I told it to do there, but we're going to go concentric when it works, and lock rotation when it works well. When it doesn't, you just adjust and go on. So it would be interesting to know. No, that one does. So tab, okay. All right, so there's something in that configuration, and I would go back and just check my mate relations, mate reference. It's active, but something in that drag and drop it doesn't like. So if I don't get it, I'm just going to apply them manually. And apparently I picked the wrong one there. 10 by 20. Oh, I did not hit apply. So let's go ahead and do peg 10 by 20 and hit the OK, and then it adjusts. All right, so Control 7 to go isometric. Want to save it. P5-6. and save. All right, to prepare this for the drawing. Oh yeah, the minus signs. Again, your choice. I think it's an easy step to go back and find the concentric. That one's not filled in, and I can tell from the previews where these are lining up at. Oh, that one was to the plate, so did not have the peg. So if I expand this out a little bit, I should be able to see the ones. So let's scroll down a little bit. All right, so I really want the concentric to the pegs, not really to the plates. All right, not a coincident. Concentric, concentric, and concentric. Right click and lock rotation. When we scroll back up, I expect that I will not see any minus signs. All right, so one thing with hardware I want to introduce real quick is if I do the windows, select the first or the last, and then hold down the shift and select the other, then I can right click, and it's going to be a little bit off the screen, but about 3/4 of the way down on this context menu, I'm going to get add to new folder. New folder, then I can make hardware. And this is a quick way to manage my geometry. That there are times where if I put in a bunch of nuts, bolts, screws, washers, bearings, that when I'm doing a analysis, debug, running through those iterations of check and recheck, that the hardware becomes a little bit of an issue. The other thing that I can do is we've mentioned display states. I haven't really utilized them. So another thing I can do, and this is especially handy with the assemblies, is to add a display state, and then I want to go to its properties. And if we want to delete, to list the display states, link the display states to configurations, we can do that. And I can also rename it as a work in progress. All right, so work in progress goes back to I can hide or suppress. And in this case, if I hide the hardware, I'm hiding everything in that folder. And then when I go back to my original display state, now you see it, now you don't. All right, so there's some tricks and stuff going on in the background that will help us. All right, so let's go to the exploded view. And I think this center plate is the one that I would want to be stationary. So I'm going to do the exploded view. And let's go with the C brackets first. And then I'll go to the pegs. And sometimes it doesn't matter which one, the order that I select these in, but I want them to behave in a certain way. I kind of go through the process. All right, so that looks pretty good. I think this number is a little big, so let's go to 50. And I'll go ahead and hit done. All right, so done. That one still kind of kicked out. Don't know if I will stay in the isometric part of it. All right, so that one didn't really jump that much, so let's try 60. I would like to have a little, well, looks like I'm going to end up back where I started at 70. And maybe we'll close those up just a little bit to show the result. So then this peg, oh, and I hit the the check mark, so let's go ahead and edit the feature. And maybe this one, and let's see what happens when I select it that way. No, that still looks pretty good. I was kind of expecting the peg to be on this side or do something strange when I reverse, when I change. No, those are all pretty much staying. And that's fine. And I want to hit the OK. I need to hit the done. So I can see the peg there. I can see the other side of the L bracket there. Let's bring it out the same distance so that it has similar separation. And that looks okay. We'll see see how it goes. Don't really need to do anything with that one, but why not? All right, so if it goes up 50, we can go through. All right. And if I double click on it, I collapse it. I double click on it again, it expands. We make sure to save it, and that is our P5-6 with the correction.